Hi, so I am traveling again, finally made it to my hotel in Ecuador. Yeah, whew, that was a long journey, but worth it. Now, I'm not going to say where I'm going yet. I gave a bit of a precursor in the Maldives video. Why might I now be in Ecuador and then use that information and the Maldives information and work out where I might be heading? Who knows? So I finally made it to my second destination. That might be a clue. Some of you may have worked it out. Yep, I'm in the Galapagos. So I'm here for a week. We're going to be doing some awesome diving. Going to head up to Wolf Island, Santa Cruz, Darwin Island. We're going to actually see some really cool animals. The landscape is incredible. It's like stepping back in time. The land unchanged.
So this is the first excursion that we went on. This island was full of life, just like the rest of the Galapagos. So here we have a frigate bird that's just about to fly past me. They were with us for pretty much most of the trip, using the boat as kind of a travelling resting spot as they zipped to and from different islands and flying. So it was about 16 hours from the main diving spots that we were going to. So quite a way. These birds used the boat as a nice little resting post. So this was filled of blue-footed boobies, frigate birds, iguanas, and also sea lions. Now we kept to the path. We did not approach any of the animals themselves. If they wanted to approach us, we had a really lovely encounter with a baby sea lion. We kept our distance. Sea lions can be aggressive, and so we kept our distance. But there's some photos coming up of the animals that we saw. That's a blue-footed booby. There's another one coming up with a blue-footed booby and their chick. There's also a frigate bird there with the large red breast. That is a male. And this is the cheeky chappy himself coming to have a look at us. So we kept our distance as it kept forward. We just kept a bit back, making sure that there was no disturbance. So here we are on the rib, or as it was known over in the Galapagos, the panga. So there were two of these on either side of the boat that we were on, and so we were split up into two groups. One group went, and then the second group went, and then that rotated every so often, so every group had the chance of being the first and the second to the water, just to keep it fair. So what you didn't see there was as everyone got on, the crew were basically putting everyone's fins on, so that we just sat on the back of the boat, or sat on the side of the boat, and they put our fins on for us. All the fins were kept in the boat themselves, and then camera equipment was then passed on from there. So as we just make our way there, probably don't see a lot from this angle. That's basically because it's quite bumpy, and with heavy equipment on, we needed to make sure that we held nice and tight to the boat, and also our camera equipment. So that's why the camera's facing to the floor there, just to ensure that I don't damage it. So we are in dry suits. The water was quite warm, but we wanted to make sure that we can, just in case we get any cold swells that came in, we'd be nice and comfortable. So I was just in some shorts and a t-shirt underneath my dry suit, but it just meant that I was nice and dry when I came out. So there we are, you see a bit more of you now, you can coming up to the rocks here. So what we did was a negative entry. So when we rolled in, we had no air in our BCD whatsoever. And so as we rolled in, we descended. Now with the dry suit, it's a little bit difficult. So as soon as we got in, we had to put our arm up to let all the air out. And so we sank quickly. That way it just stopped. There's the other panga there. That way it just stops the swell itself taking us to the rocks. And so we've got the dive guide there just talking to the other panga, making sure the other panga is out of the way and the other diver's out of the way. That's extremely important. That's why there was a bit of a time delay, just to make sure the other divers had time to get to the bottom and move out of the way from where we were to drop in, just so that we don't drop on top of them. Again, just a little bit of diver etiquette and diver safety there, ensuring that everyone has a good time. So we're just getting ready now. Panga is coming up to the spot in which we're going to dive into, checking that my dive buddy's okay. So there's my dad sitting opposite me again. The rest of the dive crew as well, making sure they're all okay. Final checks, making sure that our air is on, making sure that the gauges are correct, make sure my camera's on, my camera's rolling. So what we're going to do is a backwards roll here. This is my favourite dive entry. So you can do the backwards roll. That's usually what you do on a boat such as a rib, or you can do a giant stride, which tends to be from a jetty or from a platform. So we're just about to roll in now, and there we go. And so here we are now under the water. Got a lot of barnacles here. You can just see the size of these barnacles. It just goes to show what such a marine protected area can achieve in such a wildlife. It's absolutely incredible. So you can see some hogfish as well swimming around, other small wrasse as well, surgeonfish, angelfish. You see the dive guide there. And you can also see how the current is with the swell. That's why a negative entry is so important in this sort of scenario, is to make sure you get down as quick as possible to ensure that you don't get pushed by the tide into the rocks themselves. So this is another important one as well, as to minimize as much as we can to not touch any rock that is covered in barnacles, and if there's any space, we can use that just to help us a little bit if the tide were to take us close to any rocks. But again, just trying to minimize that. Large shoals of fish as well, really quite close to the rocks themselves, where a lot of the swell is bringing a lot of the food, a lot of the current moves in. As you can see, the barnacles there, they're getting a lot of food as the barnacles come in. See some trigger there in amongst that as well. They're not bothered by us. Again, this is like a marine protected area. These fish are absolutely untouched by human activity. Humans are not allowed to fish here. And so just swimming around, the amount of stuff that we see is generally incredible. Again, as I said, we're minimizing as much contact at the bottom as we can, but with the swell it is quite difficult sometimes. And so the easiest and safest way is to kind of find purchase, just like I've done here. And there's a hogfish that's going to swing by in a second. I'm going to take a picture of that and show you. Again, with this, you can see how fast the water is moving, how the fish are moving with here. So around it is out of focus, but the fish itself is in focus. Look at that. That's amazing. With a big nuchal hump as well, is what that lump on the head is called there. And so previously what I said there is sometimes the safest thing to do is trying to find a crevice, make sure there's nothing in the crevice itself, and kind of hunker down in order to not damage anything else from bumping into it. We're just here waiting to see if any sea lions come along, but I don't think we saw any on this particular section. And there's the hogfish again. These fish are really, really inquisitive, really, really funny things to dive with. They follow you around, and there's actually some of them using you in order to find food. So if you were to disturb anything on the rock itself, it would then go for it. I remember being next to a rock and there was a particular moment where it came out and actually found a crab that was on the rock and wouldn't leave me alone after that. It saw me as a lucky charm, kept swimming with me. But I can't get over the amount of stuff that we saw on this trip. It was incredible, and the colours as well are just stunning. See, even with the fish, they're buffeted about by the currents and the swell. They just dart in and out of the rocks, making it easy following the food as it goes. Some triggerfish there as well. Tell by the modified dorsal fin there. Like, getting so close to these amazing animals is something that we should have everywhere. Large sea urchins that you can see there in the top right hand corner. Just the wildlife here was incredible, and just goes to show, if we protect our oceans, this is what we could have across the entire globe. But it also shows as well, this is far away. This is 16 hours plus from the mainland, or the main islands in the Galapagos. So this is Wolf Island, I believe. And we went to Darwin Island as well, which will come in the later videos. But a few other photos are coming up now of some fish that I took a photo of. I believe it might be a... There we are. Just the colours again, it's incredible. You've got the soft corals and sponges growing on the rocks themselves. Got an angelfish coming here as well. Just absolutely stunning. You've got some guinea fowl pufferfish there as well. There's this one just hiding in a rock. Again, so friendly. Pufferfish are incredibly funny creatures themselves, and they do like to muck about with you and swim around. As long as you don't stress them out, it's not cool to see a pufferfish puff up. Some people find it funny, but that's actually quite stressful for the fish. So again, keeping your distance, allowing them to approach you rather than you approach them. And we're coming in a bit of deeper water here, so this is where the larger fish tend to hang out. This is where we spent a lot of our time, hunkered in the rocks here. This is where it comes in. Look at that. Scalloped hammerheads. Unbelievable. And we were seeing hundreds at a time, just shoals of these scalloped hammerheads coming in, swimming in the open, following that current again. Like I said, this Galapagos is right there in the midst of ocean currents that are bringing a lot of nutrient-rich deep water up to the surface, which is why there's so much life here. And so again, finding a spot on the rocks that hasn't got anything on it, which is quite hard to do, but if you were quite delicate in the way that you positioned yourself, you were able to hunker down, and that's what I did a lot of the time, just hunker down, allowing the fish come to you. And it didn't take long. It really didn't take long. Just open ocean, you see the scalloped hammerheads just swimming there. Absolutely fantastic. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. There is so much more to come. I'll leave you with this scalloped hammerhead coming to give me a good look as it swims off into the blue. Just incredible. And I'll let you watch the rest of the video in peace. And until next time, thanks for watching. It's been Naturescope. I've been Callum. Keep an eye out. There's a lot more videos to come.